All right, Grizzlies basketball is finally back, and we got the Grizzlies hosting the Pelicans. Ruben, oh my goodness, I'm excited. NBA is back.
Calm down. It's going to be okay.
I know he's
You're not on the team. It's okay. For the first time since 2021, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. are going to be on opening night in that lineup together. That is a big thing as the Grizzlies are starting to maybe hopefully get healthy at some point.
Yeah, they're a little bit shorthanded. Zach Edey's still out. Brandon Clark, Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen Jr. Here we go with the laundry list already. But brand new system under first-year head coach Thomas Isolo. Yeah. Shout out to our friend Avery, who used to run this program, making sure my pronunciation was right.
Yeah, but the question becomes, what can we expect from the group? What can we expect to see when they hit the court? Joining us from Grind City Media, Mr. Mike Wallace, who's been around this team throughout the preseason and team camps and everything else. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Hey, anytime, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to a new season.
So what's your sense of where this team is headed? I mean, when you look at the offseason, a lot of teams in the Western Conference were making moves. I mean, the Rockets going out and getting KD. But you look at the Grizzlies, the one big move was the Desmond Bane trade, and you sit there and you're like, that's it? So what do you feel about this team?
Well, that one move triggered another couple moves after that. That move gave them the draft capital to get into the lottery, not just this year, but also potentially next summer as well, too. You traded into the lottery after that Desmond Bane trade to trade up to number 11 so you can snag Cedric Coward, who was one of the more compelling picks outside of the top 5. You also had some flexibility there that allowed you to, obviously pay Jaren Jackson Jr. What he needed to be paid in his extension. So the Grizzlies had some accounting to do on several fronts. But what I expect this team to do, if Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. can stay healthy and give you 65-plus games each, which is something that they haven't done a lot of in their time together, honestly. But if they can stay relatively healthy, this should be a playoff team. Even with the Western Conference as stacked as it is, I'm not saying that they won't have to go through the play-in to get there, but this team should be competitive in the West when you have those two frontline guys together, and you just hope that the injuries don't take you out of that situation.
Well, speaking of the injuries, at least for this opening week, you do get two of your two stars together, right? But you're still missing the Ty Jerome, the Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Scottie Pippen Jr. What is going on in the water with the injury bug for the Grizzlies?
It's always something, I swear.
There's always something, man, and it seems to happen every single year. The Grizzlies, and it's funny because on opening night, the Grizzlies faced the New Orleans Pelicans, right? Those were the two most injured teams in the NBA over the last 2 years.
So the three of us can suit up? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And then the Grizzlies also play in the opening week, they play the Miami Heat. So between the Miami Heat, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Memphis Grizzlies, those are the three most injured teams that the league has seen almost historically in terms of a 3-year stretch. That's not conducive to winning. That's not conducive to program building. So Thomas Isolo has his hands full when it comes to establishing, what his identity is, what his systems are on both ends, and reestablishing that culture. But you can't do anything about injuries except for to recover from them as quickly as possible and to just keep moving forward.
So it looks like the Grizzlies starting lineup with their rock with for the early going is Ja, KCP, Jalen Wells, Jaren, and Jock Landale, with Edey still being hurt. How do you feel about that lineup? It looks like it's a little bit of a mix of young guys with Jalen in there and with Jock in there, but then still obviously Ja and Jaren. I mean, it's a different feel now that Bane is out. How do you personally feel about that lineup?
Well, this team has grown up. You know what I mean? Jalen Wells, as a second-year player, is the youngest player in that starting 5. Everyone else, even Jock Landale, he's new to the Grizzlies, but he's been a journeyman in the NBA for a few years now. Jaren and Ja have been together now for 7 years. Kenny Caldwell-Pope has been around the NBA for 12 years. So you have a level of maturity right there that grows this team into the next iteration of whatever they're going to be. Now, when you go to the initial bench, at least to start the season, then it gets really, really young. Javon Small and Cedric Coward are 2 rookies coming in. Then after you go beyond that, Santi Aldama gives you a veteran presence from that standpoint. And then when Ty Jerome comes back, he also becomes another veteran that you throw in, Scottie Pippen. So the bench is sort of the mixed bag. It's the starting 5 that you feel secure about, especially once Zach Edey gets back in and solidifies that center spot.
Now, everybody's always interested in rookies, how the rookies are going to develop, are they worth the money? Talk a little bit about Cedric so far. I mean, I knew early in this, maybe the first preseason game, didn't have the best shooting game, then the next game maybe a little bit better. What's his progression been like that you've seen firsthand?
Well, he's going to get the minutes. He's going to get the opportunity. He's going to have to grow through these sort of growing pains. Javon Small actually has been more productive as a second-round pick than Cedric Coward has as the lottery pick, and that's fine. I've seen this happen before. I've been around the league a long time, covered a lot of teams, and I remember specifically an old Grizzly, a guy that Grizzlies fans will be familiar with. Mario Chalmers came in as a second-round pick and pretty much outperformed Michael Beasley in Miami when they were both in the same draft in that first year together. So, you see this sometimes, but as it relates to Cedric Coward, you want him to continue to be defensively competitive. You want him to build on his lessons and his mistakes from game to game and show that confidence and sort of that maturity to understand his limitations, but to embrace the things that he's good at and continue to do that as well. He's going to be a defensive guy first, an energy guy second, and create some disruption around the rim and try to be a finisher. And then that offense will eventually come. This guy's only played 6 games at the college level last year because of that shoulder injury that requires surgery. So he's still trying to get his bearings and get his sea legs under him.
So a couple of things I want to hit on. First, I love the Mario Chalmers reference, but you got to be careful around these parts because he's the Tigers killer. Remember the three-pointer movement against Kansas? As soon as you brought him up, I thought of that. Now, going back to the rookie, Cedric, I kind of feel a little bit pressure for him because I know a lot of what I've heard about him, and I'm sure you've heard this, Mike, is they compare his game a lot to Michael Jordan at UNC.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm sure you've heard that, Mike. You've seen the MJ at UNC comparisons.
The unfair comparisons there, the Michael Jordan and Cedric. I don't think you could ever do that to that kid. He's got to take
see
time.
It a little bit because remember they did it to Victor Oladipo when he was at IU, and you could see Coward reminds me a lot of Oladipo at IU, but still when you talk about MJ,
he reminds me more of Cedric Sabalos than Michael Jordan, right? You know what I'm saying?
Is it just because of the day?
No, the long arms, defensive-minded, wasn't an elite offensive player for a long time. I mean, in the NBA, it takes a while. If you're not an elite scorer, and Mike, you can attest to this, if you're not already an elite scorer, it takes time to become an elite scorer in the NBA. You don't just do it overnight.
No, you don't. I mean, there are very few guys, and I've been covering this league. I've been around this league now for almost 25 years, right? And, the bottom line is that there are very few guys that come in and are just absolutely amazing scorers. The ones that quickly come to mind, Kevin Durant came right in and was an absolutely amazing scorer. Dwayne Wade came in and he found his way as a scorer. Allen Iverson. But we're talking about Hall of Famers, right? We're not talking about guys that are just, projected to have solid seasons. I never bought into the Michael Jordan comparisons with Cedric Coward, number one, because Cedric Coward has never played against top-level college competition, coming from the D2 ranks and then getting to Washington State. By the time he got to Washington State, they were already out of the Pac-12. So even in the 6 games that he played, the competition level was nowhere near what he's playing right now. So can a guy physically have a build of an MJ? Yes, he's 6'6". He's got long arms. He's dark-skinned. Yes, all those things matter. But at the end of the day, you cannot compare anybody to Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or any of these guys, especially if you haven't seen them go up against NBA competition yet. So I know why we're doing it. I know why we're talking about it. But I quickly dismissed that when I saw it. Anybody that does that, it has zero credibility as far as I'm concerned in terms of comps.
Well, Mike, thank you for that. First of all, for the flowers for Michael Jordan. I come from the Michael Jordan era, and I want everybody to understand that's a different level of basketball player. All right. So as we get going, and of course the season's just now getting rolling, so all hopes are high. Everybody's got the greatest ambitions. You spoke a little bit about how you feel like this could be a playoff team long term. What do you feel about how Ty Jerome plays into that? Because initially I was like, oh, so you got Ty Jerome. But then I looked deeper into his numbers and I was like, oh, you got Ty Jerome. He could play.
Yeah.
He can play. This was a guy, fellas, that was a finalist for Sixth Man of the Year last season on a 64-win Cavaliers team that had all-stars in Donovan Mitchell, from that standpoint, and, Darius Garland, right? So, that team had 3 all-stars on it. And he's a winner. He knows what winning basketball looks like. He still was a contributor. He played really, really well in the first round of the playoffs last year when they swept Miami. This guy fits into the system seamlessly, and we saw that in the preseason until he got hurt at the last game of the regular, the preseason coming into the season. So hopefully he can get through this next month of rehab and things of that nature so that calf can calm down and we can see exactly what he has and what he can do in the regular season. But when you talk about a calf strain, you do not want to mess around with that. Just ask Tyrese Halliburton. Just ask, Jason Tatum. Just ask Damian Lillard. The list goes on and on and on and on. We've seen guys struggle with that injury and it become worse because they tried to play on it. The Grizzlies caught it early. They're going to take a month and let it, calm down and then see where they are in a month with Ty Jerome.
Yeah, that calf strain turns into an Achilles tendon problem real quick if you're not careful.
Yeah, and I think if you ask Grizzlies fans what would have been the injured guy in the backcourt, they would have said Ja. But it's funny that we start the season, Ja is healthy, and the people that you got to back him up and be his insurance, per se, in Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen are hurt. So with that being said, Mike, with Ja Morant being healthy, it seems the conversation around him has been different lately when it comes to top point guards. So you think this is the opportunity for him to reassert himself as a top point guard in the league and finally show that clean bill of health and no trouble, of course?
Not only is that the opportunity, it's the mandate, it's the expectation, it's the standard, it's the barometer. I can come on with more and more adjectives to describe how important this season is for Ja, from that standpoint. This is a young man that is now back into a situation where contract extensions are coming up for him in the next couple of seasons in terms of where he wants to be in terms of a max level player in this league. He has a chance, and he's an all NBA talent. He just has to put the seasons and the numbers together to be able to go ahead and do it and qualify for it. So this season, the onus is on Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant to lead this team, this iteration of the team forward, or some hard questions have to be asked if they can't get it done. So, this is I don't want to say it's an all-in season, but it's as close to an all-in season as Ja Morant has faced in his NBA career.
I think we'll leave it at that. Mike, we appreciate you taking the time. Again, opening week for the Grizz. Games on the schedule. If you have time, go out, support the Grizz, have some fun down there. We've got to take our quick break. We want to thank again Mike Wallace with Grind City Media for taking the time to speak with us today. Mike, your information and knowledge is invaluable.